$200,000 jobs are not as common as you think. They are visible, but not available. You see them often. You hear about them constantly. But that does not mean there are many. It means they are concentrated, and concentration creates the illusion of abundance. What appears frequent is often just repeated visibility, not actual volume. The same companies, the same roles, the same environments. Repetition creates familiarity, not scale. What you see repeatedly feels common, even when it is not widely available. Visibility increases perception, not actual supply. Now, the assumption is simple. If enough people are earning $200,000, then many roles must exist. But that logic is misleading. High salaries are clustered in specific companies, specific teams, and specific systems. The number appears large from the outside, but it is tightly distributed. What you see is not the full market. It is a small segment repeated over and over. The same companies, the same roles, the same environments. What looks like variety is often repetition. Now, most engineering roles do not operate at that level. They support systems, maintain infrastructure, or execute defined work. These roles are necessary, but they are not tied to direct revenue or high-leverage outcomes. $200,000 roles exist where impact is measurable and scalable, and those environments are limited. The majority of roles are not built for that level of compensation. They are designed for stability, not acceleration. Most roles are not built to generate outsized outcomes. They are designed to maintain systems, not to produce disproportionate results. Most roles are optimized for continuity, not high compensation. Now, company structure explains part of the scarcity. Not every organization can support high salaries across many roles. Smaller companies, stable industries, and internal teams operate with tighter constraints. Even in large companies, only certain groups generate enough value to justify high compensation. The system does not distribute high-paying roles evenly. It concentrates them, and concentration limits access. Fewer entry points exist than most people assume. Access is limited not by skill alone, but by structural availability. Now, competition intensifies around those roles. Engineers with strong profiles, strong experience, and strong positioning all target the same limited opportunities. The pool of candidates grows faster than the pool of roles. This creates pressure that is not always visible. Many qualified engineers compete for a small number of positions, and most of them do not get selected, even if they meet the requirements. Qualification does not guarantee selection at that level. Many qualified candidates remain outside simply because capacity is fixed. The system limits how many people can move up, regardless of how many qualify. Now, entry into these roles is not continuous. Hiring happens in cycles. Teams expand, then stabilize. Opportunities open, then disappear. Even if you are qualified, you need timing, positioning, and access at the same moment. Without all three, movement does not happen. Availability is not constant. It is episodic. And most people are not aligned with those cycles when they occur. Timing becomes a constraint, not a variable. You cannot choose when opportunities appear, only whether you are aligned when they do. Now, early positioning becomes critical. Engineers who start in high-growth environments or high-impact teams gain access to these roles faster. They build experience that aligns with what the system values. Others develop strong skills in lower-leverage environments, but remain outside the path to higher compensation. The gap is not created later. It starts early, and over time, it becomes harder to bridge. The longer the gap exists, the more structural it becomes. Time does not reduce the gap, it reinforces it. Now, long-term dynamics reinforce scarcity. As more engineers aim for $200,000 roles, the perception of availability increases, but the number of roles does not scale at the same rate. This creates a widening gap between expectation and reality. More people aim for the same outcome. Fewer reach it, and the system does not expand to accommodate that demand. Demand increases, but supply remains constrained. More people aim for the same outcome, but the number of roles stays nearly constant. Now, visibility creates distortion. High salaries are overrepresented in conversations, content, and career narratives. They become the reference point. But they are not the average outcome. They are the visible edge of the system. What you see is not what most people experience. And that gap between perception and reality creates false expectations. Expectations rise faster than actual opportunities. What people expect to reach expands faster than what the system can offer. Perception expands faster than reality. Now, risk becomes subtle. Engineers assume that reaching $200,000 is a matter of time. That progression will eventually lead there. But time alone does not create access. Many careers plateau below that level, even with continued improvement. The system does not guarantee upward movement, it filters it. And filtering becomes stricter as more people qualify. More candidates enter, but fewer advance proportionally. Advancement becomes more selective as the pool grows larger. More effort does not translate into higher probability. Now, the system reinforces this distribution. Companies allocate high compensation to roles that directly influence growth, revenue, or critical infrastructure. These roles are limited by design. They cannot scale across the entire workforce. Most roles remain below that level because the system requires it. Distribution is not accidental, it is structural. Final verdict. $200,000 jobs are not rare because people cannot reach them. They are rare because the system does not create many of them. What looks like a common outcome is actually a concentrated one. The visibility creates expectation, the structure creates limits, and most people only see one side of that equation. By the time they understand the other side, the gap is already in place, and closing that gap is harder than reaching it would have been earlier, because by then, the system has already moved the opportunity somewhere else,